The public have increasingly high expectations of their armed forces. They expect modern weapons to be precise and accurate, able to distinguish between friend and foe and innocent civilians. Commanders will be able to coordinate precisely the movement of land, sea and air assets across a theatre of operations which may be measured in thousands of square miles. It's all made possible by accurate, timely and unambiguous communications. Nevertheless, things can still go wrong. In the next few minutes, we're going to be looking at some of the reasons why communication systems don't always work together as effectively as they might. And we'll introduce you to iSMART, the process designed to ensure maximum interoperability between data communications systems. In this simple scenario, the mission system on board each asset needs to know exactly where the enemy is. The commander needs to have a complete and timely picture. He wants an accurate view of the disposition, status and current orders of the forces under his control, and those forces need to be able to share that information. When you look at the assets in this scenario and the myriad of potential data flows between them, the volume of information to be transmitted, received and evaluated looks enormous. When you multiply the number of assets by 100 and update the data every few seconds, you get some sense of the real scale and complexity of the communications involved. There are several reasons why assets may not communicate effectively. Military communication systems are constantly evolving. Older systems may not be fully compatible with the latest variants. All too often, the mission systems for new platforms tend to be developed in isolation, without sufficient regard for the wider context in which they'll operate. The result is a variety of capabilities. The speed at which they can receive, transmit and process information can vary too. And different networks may use a variety of protocols to handle the information they send and receive. Even the way in which data is displayed can vary. Older monochrome systems use symbols to differentiate information, whilst the latest systems use colours. And then there is the data itself. Each network system has its own set of data definitions. What's more, different definitions can even apply within a single network. The result is a communications matrix, which may lack full interoperability. Mission planners and communications specialists are well aware that interoperability issues exist. They know that full interoperability may never be achieved, not only because systems are constantly evolving, but also because modern conflicts may well involve ad hoc coalitions between nations whose military assets could vary widely in their communications capabilities. Procedures are in place to overcome or work around known problems, but as one expert put it, the difficulty is that we don't always know what we don't know. And that could threaten the success of operations and the lives of those involved. However, there is a solution. iSMART, or Interoperability Systems Management and Requirements Transformation, is a process designed to ensure information systems will work together across an entire theatre of operations. iSMART employs a massive database which captures the full extent of the information flow between all the various communication systems in terms of a standardized definition of each individual data element. The IER tool can define the inputs and outputs for any configuration of assets, no matter how varied. It automatically highlights any issues which may prevent complete interoperability and suggests how the various networks should be configured for the mission. And when a new capability is being acquired, the IER assessment tool helps define the requirement so that it will integrate successfully with other systems. Trapper is the iSMART tool which identifies and reports any deviations from the standard for a given network. Trapper examines each communications platform, recognises where common data is subject to different handling protocols, and highlights areas where improvements are needed. The Enhanced Data Link Platform Implementation Tool, or eDLPI, compares how data is exchanged between assets and reports deviations in the way messages are implemented by onboard systems. Finally, the Interoperability Matrix tool, or IOM, finds mismatches between systems which will need to work together. The iSMART process has already generated proven benefits. In its first incarnation, it was known as TULIP. Its contribution to the J-STAR program was invaluable.
Well, the biggest single lesson the United States Air Force learnt was to understand that they have to consider interoperability from the outset, and not from a single platform, but from a complete system of systems perspective across multiple platforms. So they took what was known as TULIP and is now iSMART, and said that we now need to have this process that covers all communications, not just tactical data links, and we need to apply it to all our platforms from the outset. And in fact, what the USAF therefore has done is bring all their legacy platforms into the iSMART process and now use iSMART for all platforms from here on in.
iSMART's 4 powerful tools are available individually or packaged together as eSMART, the most convenient way to make full use of the comprehensive information at the heart of the iSMART process. iSMART is the only system which underpins interoperability, from concept to specification and delivery to employment. iSMART is in use by US, European and other allied forces and can be applied to information exchange across any media. As General Omar Bradley put it, Congress may make you a general, but it's communications that make you a commander. That was never more true than it is today.